stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silent reflection for our servicemen and women throughout the world and for those who've passed away in our community, especially Ralph Delpree and Jane Malloy. Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah. Billy's not here. Oh, hold on. Oh. Frank. All right. Roll call, please.
Mr. King? Mr. Schuster?
Present.
Dr. Rothchild? Mr. McAndrew?
Present.
Mr. Smurl?
Here. Dispense with the reading of the minutes.
Third order, 3A, correspondence received October 31st, 2024, from the Business Administration regarding department budget transfers. 3B, correspondence received October 31st, 2024, from ARPA Director regarding American Rescue Plan Act update. 3C, correspondence dated October 29th, 2024, from BA ARPA Director regarding ARPA departmental budget transfers. 3D, correspondence received from City Business Administration on November 5th, 2024, regarding payroll preparation tax collections as of October 29th, 2024.
Are there any comments on any of the third order items? If not, received and filed. Do any council members have any announcements at this time?
I have two quick ones. So the American Ukrainian veterans of Lackawanna County are having a ribbon cutting of their new Electric City Veterans Patio. This is at the Yukis, known as the Yuka Vets on Railroad Avenue. It's going to be this Saturday, November 9th at 3 o'clock. Also, the Scranton Police Department are going to have their annual Toy Drive fundraiser. This will be November 22nd at 5 p.m. at the Waldorf Park Society Club, and it's asking you to bring a new unwrapped toy. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And then I also had two. So DPW and City Hall will be closed Monday for observance of Veterans Day. And I would like to wish a happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. That's all, Mr. Smurl.
Thank you. Order.
Fourth order, citizen participation.
First, Joan Hodowanis.
Joan Hodowan at Scranton. I too would like to wish all the veterans and their families a happy Veterans Day. I guess we're a dying breed, but for those who are members of that august body, happy Veterans Day. Is there any word on when they'll get the police collective bargaining agreement on the website? Is that getting closer to being finalized?
No date has been set yet.
Okay. And are we still in negotiations for the DPW collective bargaining agreement?
Yes, we are.
Okay, that thing is going to run out in 56 days. Ideally, the city would be able to negotiate new contracts before the current one runs out, which it runs out in this case on December 31st. Now, if you look at the proposed city budget for next year, and you look at fire and police, clerical, you'll see that there are programmed pay raises for the union members because it's in their union contracts. You get down to DPW, there are no increases, okay? Because you can't plug in a number there because they're still negotiating at this time. If you assumed a 2 or 3% increase and put it in there, the union could say, that's our starting point. So you have to leave it blank. But you have to, you know as well as I do, that they're going to get some kind of salary increase, okay? DPW in 2024 got a 3.5% increase, 2% on January 1st and 1.5% on July 1st. So, you know, I mean, I would bet money they're going to get something for 2025 and beyond. You know, there are 98 people in DPW. I guess one is the director, he's non-union, but the rest of them are probably union members, so somewhere that money's going to have to materialize, so. But that's one of the reasons why we can't let union contracts expire for a year or two before, you know, they're finalized again. The city and the unions, they need to get serious about these negotiations because the person paying the bill is the taxpayer, and this is not fair to the taxpayer. And it makes no sense in trying to manage a budget. It just doesn't. Speaking of budgets, how are we doing on the audit?
The audit, same, Don
Is what?
Matt
Dominus said before, he explained the whole thing. You were here, heard what he said. So we should have it by the end of this month. They are working on it right now, so.
Okay, thank you. That's good. And I did look at the budget very superficially because I just printed it out this morning. Many ways I was pleased by it. The narrative is very well written. If you've had time to sit down and read it, I'm sure Matt Dominus is the author of the narrative. It's very clearly done. Now, if the way the mayor has presented it is at all accurate, you should be very happy about it. I pulled out the Act 47 recommendation from Jerry Cross when he recommended that the city come out of distress status. And what he was looking at was he's projecting a deficit, an operational deficit between revenues and expenses through 2026. And this is what he recommended. The coordinator recommends that the city increase its property tax millage rate by 5.1% in 2024, 14.8% in 2025, and 0.7% in 2026. So if all of what the mayor has said is accurate and that we don't need a millage increase next year, then I think we're heading down the right road. We'll have to see, because now it's time to look at every line individually. Thank you.
Thank you, John. John Lithrams?
John L. Thomas.
Tom, oh,
John L. Thomas?
John L.
He's coming.
Yeah.
Evening, Council. John L. Thomas, Scranton. What I'm going to say is I'm not comfortable saying it. Last Sunday evening, I was going back to my apartment. And at the corner of Adams Avenue and Spruce Street, I seen this trailer. Very degrading, disgusting, just to say a few words. And I'm asking Council tonight, and the mayor and her administration, to see if you can pass some kind of law or laws to forbid this in the future. It's a way beyond politics. You've probably seen it, you've probably heard about it, and I hope something can be done. And another issue, I've been here several times before, 1700 block Dixon Avenue. Somebody has to go down there and take a look at that situation. It has to be a one-way, sooner than later. And it's been several months talking about it. And I'm going to get off the city business for a while, and I don't feel comfortable talking about this, because we're here for city business. And people come here to talk about the federal and all that. You got to hit the gavel on those people. Well, Donna Khan is in the Oval Office. And Brad Rothberger, Secretary of State, Georgia elections. Brad, can you give me 1,100 votes? No, sir, I can't. Come on, Brad, I know you can do it. You can do it for me. No, sir, I can't. Thank you, Mr. Rothberger, for being an honest man and having a backbone. January 6, 2021, Mike Pence, Vice President Mike Pence. Okay, Mike, you got to do this. They stole the election from us, so you got to stop the count. Thank you, Vice President Mike Pence, for your honesty and your backbone. Thank you, Council, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Ron Elman?
Good evening, Council. First, I'd like to commend all the people involved in the political period of time we just went through. I know about half of them didn't achieve what they wanted, but I guess you can live to fight another day. We can't let people like Chris Kelly and Sandra Myers' hate-filled letters urging us to keep at each other's throats forever rule the day. And secondly, I know everybody's seen these advertisements for the coins, the gold coins. My ex-wife died this year, and my son got a little packet of coins in there from the Canary Islands or the Philippines or someplace. It cost $19,000. There's a receipt for them. 3 coin dealers said they were worth about $14,000 to less than $15,000 melted down. That's what a con job they're doing, and you can see one of them shows 150 people standing there as his staff, I suppose. You can't, they are almost useless, you know. I just thought I'd throw that in because these advertisements make it look so interesting to invest in. And lastly, I have a little 3-month-old little white female kitten with blue eyes I have to find a home for. And she is absolutely the most precious little friendly thing. And she's not growing, she's real tiny. And I'd like someone that wants to keep her for 20 years that has a home and not worry about renting a room and throwing her out because it's against pets. Phone me. She's crazy about our dog, and this is just such a beautiful little girl, but there's no way Rose and I can keep a little thing like this for 20 years. Please, somebody out there that has a home and wants a beautiful little pet, phone me. Thank you.
Thank you. Lee Morgan?
Good evening, Council. Lee Morgan. What I have here today is that I'd like to express my overwhelming joy at the election the other day when we swept just a multitude of Democrats out of office. It's like I said before when I came here, and the whole nation is talking about it, and I respect everybody's opinion, but Trump won the popular vote, and we've started to clean house. We just have to get rid of you guys. You know, I sit here, I watch you guys talk about all kinds of things, condemned homes, everything, but don't forget, the city condemned all those homes, but the sad part is, were any of the inspectors really certified? Because don't forget, we had an investigation here that the council should be talking about in regards to the director of licensing and inspections in the department. We should be hearing reports from the council on what that investigation determined. The residents should really have a good understanding about what's going on in our government. I mean, I like the little pep shows we have here, but you know, there hasn't been any real change in the city government in a long time. The same thing with the Scranton School District. You know, we've got a really clean house. You've really left us down as a political group. And I just like to say that I hope that when Elon Musk starts looking at the federal budget and he starts making cuts, they go to some of these federal grants that come into these cities that have been used for walking around money for decades. In other words, to get elected, because we've watched contracts come through this council, and then you go look at the project and you try to figure out, where did all those millions of dollars go? Like the one on Lackawanna Avenue by Buana's, just all pork barrel projects, but yet our streets are a mess. You know, I don't see any of the council members going to the PUC or the governor and say, look, the people in this city can't afford their water and sewer bills because the Scranton Sewer Authority was used as an employment agency for the people who backed the right political candidates. So we lost the Sewer Authority, but we need a government that's going to do something for us. Somebody that's going to say to Pennsylvania American Water, what you're doing to our residents is wrong. And then say to the governor and the PUC, we need massive rate cuts. We don't even hear that. We hear about one more authority or one more something else. And I just like to say that, you know, for all the times I tried to get into Senator Casey's office and you're locked out, it's like coming to City Hall here. You can get into the vestibule, but you're locked out of the rest of the building like you're a serf. These aren't people that are representing us. You're not representing us. Look at ECTV. Look what happened to that. That TV station was never designed to be a government channel. Read the federal legislation that created it. And look what it was when it was first created, but not a peep out of this council. Nobody talking to the mayor about what's happened to that channel. You don't represent us. You represent the status quo and the politicians. Okay, and go to all the dinners you want and go to talk to all the neighborhood groups you want, but you don't represent the people. You represent yourself and special interest, because if you represented the people, licensing and inspections would be different, the neighborhoods would be different, the standard of living would be different in this city, the amount of poverty would be different in this city, the amount of jobs in this city would be different. You know, I can appreciate people coming up here and being staunch Democrats, but I've watched them loot everything from 40 years from standing right where I'm at. I've watched all the shifting of money from one department to another, the building of a parking authority garage that the city couldn't afford, and the council acknowledged it when they built it. All the council members over 40 years that said they had a vision for the city. There's only one thing they did. They left all the residents behind. Now we have the county talking about a 33% tax increase. And I appreciate what this woman came and said about the city not about to raise taxes, but we've got a reassessment coming behind that. And we had 30 years of mismanagement under the PEL where the city was looted, and the council did nothing. Look at the projects we're spinning off. The American Recovery Plan by this president. They couldn't let him out the campaign because he was diminished when they elected him. And you know, when you take a real look, people can talk about the elective process. But Pennsylvania, the courts changed the election process in Pennsylvania. It was illegal in 2020. None of the votes should have counted. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all for our sign-in sheet. Anybody else wish to speak?
Good evening, Council. Virgil Argenta. For several weeks now, I've been presenting information and inquiries about city bidding projects, most recently about the Capous Avenue Playground and Splash Pad project. This bid was read live on ECTV. The due date for the rebid was October 2nd, 2024. You can watch it anytime you like on ECTV. Curious as to why they did not read all the contractor's information, deducts, and add-ons. It also appears to me that they only read one or two of the complete bids and did not read the rest of the contractor's information. Makes you wonder why they did not provide all that information. Most recently, I discovered the low bidder on this project was still the low bidder, after they still tried to award the project to the highest bidding contractor. The city is using one add and one deduct, and it still makes the original low bidder the low bidder, low by $120,000 plus. This is a lot of money for the taxpayers to lose out on. And to put the burden on the taxpayers is pure crazy, especially when there's a performance bond required on this project. Does the City Council propose to do anything about this continuing issue regarding the bids? I'm sure the taxpayers would be very concerned that these bid issues are being allowed to go on for as long as they have, with always taking the highest bidder. I'm sure you're all aware the people have spoken after this latest election that we have had enough. What we also had enough is the mismanagement of the city and the burden that was put on the taxpayers, businesses, and residents of the city. The strain that was put on our emergency resources, and God only knows what the price tag will be and where the funds will come from. For a political campaign, for the mayor to pick her 3 failed political candidates she personally chose to campaign for with our public resources. This was the most embarrassing results in the history of a political election. Once again, we, the taxpayers of Scranton, are stuck holding the bag. Was any of this brought before City Council for approval before any of this money or any of these funds were spent? Mr. Voldenberg, can you please reach out to the administration, have the mayor remove all the Harris Walt signs that are littering the community? Change is coming. We're talking about the pension. Since February 2002, are you aware that there's a police detective lieutenant that has been receiving $38,904 a year, $3,242 a month for killing his wife, who's receiving his pension in Albion State Correctional Institute? And we're worried about saving money? Think about that for a minute. The guy kills his wife, and he still receives a pension. As of today, he was receiving $3,242 a month. Albion State Correctional Institute.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Mike Mancini, Scranton. The national election is now over. I hope that the same focus can be spent on our local election and the officials next year. Watch how many questions I ask while none get addressed. This is not Talkback 16. This is Scranton City Council. It only takes 100 signatures to run for City Council, according to Mr. King, who's not here tonight. I can see how this council could feel drained. We have an administration that takes its time to answer questions and concerns, if at all. A great example that keeps coming up and getting brought up is the Unhoused Homeless Commission. Ignoring issues will not make them go away. Very same thing could be actually, this very same council hears from concerned citizens, and yet you don't get answers to most of the questions or completely ignore the speaker. A $4,000 raise is one thing, earn it. I don't see any of you writing down these concerns and addressing them. There was poor follow-up with this expansion team. Earn your keep. If you want to raise, work in the month of August. This is a critical month because this body is oversight to this expansion team. You could have followed up with the crosswalks and the mandates relating to the school zones. You should not have to hear about a child getting hit by a vehicle. The current safety issues are partially your fault. The rest lies with the mayor. Let me now discuss the raises to this expansion team. Not one of them deserved them. The absentee mayor certainly does not deserve one. 7 weeks, 7 months, 7 years like Naok. Will one of you please tell us, and the good people of Scranton, when each pool would actually be open to swim? I'm hearing 2026 for Naok. That's 7 years. These pools and other progress could have been timed. Actually, these pools and other progress have been timed to her reelection. She will promote progress. How much less would it have cost if these things were completed 2 or 3 years ago? Everything gets bid out, including hanging and removing Christmas decorations at Naog to the tune of $114,000. Volunteers were available to do the same undertaking for free. Our roads require swerve patterns, while the mayor only follows up once a month with the utility companies. Will one of you please address the pave cuts being sealed properly? How about raising the fines for poor work? How about raising the fines for littering? This election is critical to the future and vision of our amazing city. The people of Scranton deserve so much better. As the election for mayor takes shape, with no call from 202 or the 717 area code, she's probably all in. An expansion team is not our answer. Photo op Page or Pat is not our answer. This city truly needs someone who cares, someone willing to do the difficult work and make good decisions for the people of Scranton. This is not the city that my son would have wanted to come home to. This current climate needs to change for the better. As a parent, you would like to leave your city better than when you were a kid. Sometimes you must do things yourself because you are the best suited. I'll get those 100 signatures. I will announce as an independent on a day and time of my so choosing. I will have, on that important day, a winning team around me. I am a firm believer that it's important to know exactly what you vote for and who you vote for. A winning team is what this city truly needs. We will make Scranton great again. To this expansion team, enjoy your raises. In less than 52 weeks, we're all fired. Change is coming. Good evening, Council.
Thank you.
Tom Goyne, Manuka. I was listening coming in. I knew I'd have an extra bit of time coming in here because the finance meetings always run late and kick this backwards. But I did get to catch that Naog Pool is in limbo, that the money that we were supposed to get to it, well, we didn't get the grants for it. And we're going to have pickleball courts, but for the pool, well, you know, we're going to have to hold our hand on our backside and just hope that someone in the future pays for the city of Scranton's children, because the city itself cannot take care of its own youth. Back when Mr. King was the president of this council, I made multiple comments that the Recovery Act fund could be used for the pool. There was over a year to a year and a half where the now business administrator, who is up for her third double-digit raise in this budget, said, no, it's not allowed. It can't be done. I brought in papers that showed that the Treasury Department made rulings with the final ruling that it could be done. No, it couldn't be done. No, it couldn't be done. Finally, Mr. McAndrew did the research and found out that the county was using it just for then, and the city acquiesced and said, well, I guess if the county's using it, we can use it too. So obviously our director of OECD at that time, who was getting a bonus pay for running the project, who was telling you it could not be done, had no idea what her job was. We lost almost 2 years on that pool because this body refused to do research, refused to do papers, and refused to challenge it. The pool's not going to open next year or the 2025 in September. The city children are going to have a handful of dirt. Welcome to progress in the city of Scranton. Raises for the business administrator. What is it, 23% again? 20%? Looking at the numbers, I understand why we have to give it to her, because not only is she the highest paid person in the city of Scranton, higher than the mayor, higher than any employee, but she gets an add-on bonus from being the director for the ARPA funds. But that's going to expire. So when the ARPA funds 5 years expire, we've got to raise her up to her level of incompetence. I don't say everything she does is incompetent, but I lay squarely on the shoulders that the pool should have been done. The pool should have been started. We lost a year. And now, because all the eggs were put in a basket behind the Democratic Party and all the money spent and no more is coming in, we now have half-done projects and no hope for the future. Knowing how Trump works his campaigns, and knowing that he tends to be spiteful, do you not think that the train project coming here to Scranton is going to be targeted and killed? Your train may have left the station permanently again because you embraced Biden Street. How is the city going to handle not having new revenue? We're not going to have the money from Casey gone. All of the cash cows who brought money in here are gone. We need to devise a future, and part of it is looking at all of these raises in the budget, not for the workers, but for the heads of office who have gotten raises for the past 3 years. It needs to be stopped. It's not right. You don't get it. Frank is certainly not getting a 23% increase for all he does. And how many times has he asked to look up things over and over again for this body and for the people? Thank you, and thank you, Frank, for all that you do.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Dave Dobson, resident, taxpayer. Okay. Last week we had somebody raised an issue about coming up here and talking about national things, and you know, they're entitled to their opinion. But a couple years ago, that person did the same thing, and I was up here and I got told that they'd like to, after 3 people came in beating the daylights out of Joe Biden, I was just going to say a couple nice things. I like the way he handled the pandemic and stuff, and I was told, well, we'd like to hear something that we're interested in. It was Mr. Goff and former councilman. Well, my advice to him is to start finding out why that county debt is what it is. We bought the Globe store, spent $18 million on it. We had an alternative building, and we sold that for a pittance, and now it's an apartment house. Hopefully they're doing great, but we're not with the 37% or 38% tax increase. Just please, it is what it is, but please get it straight as to who caused the debt. Now, on the budget, and we're hearing things about it, and our city government, rather, don't count on grants and the generous little funds that you receive anymore. We really should sit down and put our heads together and see what's going to just get cut, because there's going to be a problem there. We can't keep having tax increases. I won about a couple $100 on a cash 5. You know where I put it? My property tax account. You know, lots of fun. Recycle, we have to do that with this. We have to find a way of splitting this recycling and tell Mr. DeNaples to shut up. We're sending our stuff in good condition, and on quality of life, I'd like to complain about the city streets. You know, I keep hearing people, and they're entitled to their opinion about we should use this money to fix the roads. Well, what's the point in fixing the road if the utility company is going to come right behind you and tear it up and put a patch that kind of looks like who knows what. They throw a couple of asphalt on the shovels of asphalt and drive away. Let the cars compact it down. We should use some of our code enforcement, is my point. We should use our code enforcement to actually inspect all excavations on city streets. You know, and we need a kinder general code enforcement. We don't need everybody coming in like gangbusters. It's you just give the person a letter, and then you follow up on it. But to be whacking people with fines and fees and all kinds of stuff, that's not right. I don't have that kind of money. I'm just barely standing. Now, on the election, in Tempe, Arizona, there was a Democratic headquarters shot up 3 times, and it closed before the election. Take it as you may, that is not right. And on women's issues, which, you know, what's more fun than drinking with a bunch of guys at a football game in a sports bar all night? Drinking with the girls. I always did. But the point being that this lady, Nevaeh Crane, 6 months pregnant, was at her baby shower, became ill, went to the emergency room. She was sent home 2 times. And the 3rd time she was admitted and left there for 2 hours and passed away. Neither the baby or the mother. Please get it straight. There are medical, and you have to separate the two, at the very least. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Anyone else? Frank?
5th order, 5A motions.
Mr. Schuster, do you have any motions or comments?
I asked Frank before the meeting, we didn't get any correspondence from the administration on questions from last week, correct?
We did not as of this afternoon, sir.
All right, so if we could just follow up on questions from last week that weren't answered. I know I asked some of those tonight. I really didn't get any clear answers on any of the questions I asked, but just following up on questions from last week that are outstanding.
I will, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schuster. Dr. Rothchild, do you have any motions or comments?
I have one, and I don't know if this has been brought to their attention already, but there's been an issue for several weeks, the 100 block of Fairview Avenue and West Side, that their recyclables have not been picked up over about a month that they haven't been picked up. So if we could please contact DPW and find out why that is.
I will, Dr. Rothchild.
Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rothchild. Mr. McAndrew, do you have any motions or comments?
Yes, so recently up on South Main Avenue in West Scranton, probably between Luzerne Street, Washburn, Jackson, there's been people seen walking dogs unleashed. All right, I've actually seen them myself. Some residents there are concerned, and I don't blame them. I know there's laws on the books. I think we need to alert the police, Mr. Voldenberg, that this is happening. You know, a dog can bite a pedestrian. A dog could, attack another dog. I've seen that happen, and that's horrible. And or just, cause an accident, and, health, safety, and welfare. And these aren't Chihuahuas. I mean, these are mid-sized to German Shepherds. So I don't know why it's happening all of a sudden, but it's noticeable. So if you could please alert the police department.
I will.
And I would also like to wish all the veterans and their families a very happy Veterans Day, and thank you for your service. And I know there'll be a bunch of things going on Monday, and I hope I get to a couple of them. And that is all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. McAndrew. I'll start with NEPA Youth Shelter. The shelter's annual appeal begins this month, and it is also the Homeless Youth Awareness Month. And if you would like to donate to it, you can go online. It is nepayouthshelter.org. And Mr. McAndrew, or Mr. Voldenberg, after the meeting, I'll give you this, maybe put it on our website. I'll tell you just a bit about the mission in NEPA Youth Shelter is to provide quality emergency shelter and related services to unaccompanied youth ages 14 through high school graduation from all counties throughout northeastern Pennsylvania. The shelter provides essential such as food, clothing, bathrooms, as well as such educational support, counseling, family reunification, and preparation for independent living. I will ask that we put that on our website, so if anybody would like to donate to it. Also, I was asked about the Wawa going up on Music Street. There was a permit application sent into the city on 10/21 of '24 for the project to move forward. I also have a map of it, and it shows the Wawa store. It also shows a detached store, which is Aldi's, up from behind it. I don't know if this is available online, Mr. Voldenberg, but maybe we can put it up in case anybody wants to see this. I know we had a lot of questions about this.
I'll see if I
but
can
it
post
is
it for
moving
the public.
forward. So. And then Pennsylvania American Water Company, they are going to do a lot of projects in 2025. We now have the list of projects, so we may want to meet with Mr. Oleski and Oslinski maybe after the first of the year when we have time, come in and so that we can arrange that the city knows where they are going, and so that we don't pave or do any other work we don't have.
He did ask for a date in December if possible.
In December?
Yes.
All right. I don't know if it's possible, but
it'll have to be the beginning of the year.
we will see. I did have one more, but I don't know when I give it, of course. Well, that is all I'll have for now, Mr. Voldenberg.
5B for introduction, an ordinance appropriating funds for the expenses of the city government for the period commencing on the first day of January 2025 to and including December 31st, 2025 by the adoption of the general city operating budget for the year 2025.
This time, I entertain a motion that item 5B be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5C for introduction, a resolution authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into an interlocal agreement between the city of Scranton and the county of Lackawanna, both within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that item 5C be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5D for introduction, a resolution accepting a donation in the amount of $1,800 to the Scranton Fire Department to be placed in Special City Services account as noted.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5D be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so moved.
5E for introduction, a resolution authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with Fugro USA Land, Inc. to perform services for the city of Scranton's request for Lackawanna Regional Stormwater Impervious Area Assessment.
This time, I entertain a motion that item 5E be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
Sixth order, 6A, reading by title, filed to council number 41, 2024, an ordinance amending filed to council number 25 of 2024, ratifying and approving an intergovernmental agreement of cooperation and memorandum of understanding between the city of Scranton and the borough of Moosic regarding coordination on zoning, planning, and code enforcement of 53 Glenmara National Boulevard to ratify the updated memorandum of understanding from Moosic Borough.
You've heard reading by title of item 6A. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that item 6A pass reading by title.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
Seventh order, 7A, for consideration by the Committee on Public Safety for adoption, filed to council number 40, 2024, authorizing the Scranton Police Department to donate a used police vehicle to the Career Technology Center of Lackawanna County.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety, I recommend final passage of item 7A.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7A legally and lawfully adopted.
Eighth order, no business at this time.
If there is no further business, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.